But first, video of a man attacking a teen at a local Whataburger and stealing his Make America Great Again hat goes viral, sparking chaos online.
Eyewitness News reporter Addie Wahardo explains what's happened since that video was first posted.
It's been viewed more than 2 million times. You see this man throwing a drink at 16-year-old Hunter Richard and shouting a racial slur after snatching his Make America Great Again hat. The video sparked outrage online, one person posting, "I cannot wait until they catch this coward." Many even going as far as sharing his personal information online, including an address and his workplace, leaving everyone involved on edge. A woman claiming to be a parent of one of the boys at the table tells us her son is receiving threats. But the big question on everyone's mind, what led up to the incident?
It's gonna go great.
One man who wants to remain anonymous claims racial remarks were made leading up to the taped exchange, though there's no proof that actually happened. San Antonio police would only say they're handling this as an assault and currently conducting interviews and investigating. It's unclear if anyone will be charged. Whataburger also released a statement. "We were shocked to see this video and certainly don't condone this type of customer behavior in our restaurants. We contacted the employer of the man in the video, who confirms he has been fired as a result of this incident." Addie Guajardo, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.
And just in, San Antonio resident and Trump 2020 campaign manager Brad Parscale tweeted about the incident, saying he wants to send the teenager a signed Trump hat. He also said hundreds of thousands of people stand with him.